Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we're going to make a waterfall card that's themed for fall. I chose to use pumpkins. Of course, you'll see how easy it is to make this style of card, and you can choose whatever shape that you want to fit on your waterfall feature. But when I follow the arrow and pull, you'll see how cool it is that the pumpkins fall up and the message is displayed, and it says, "Have a bootiful day," when it's pulled all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to just close it back up. You can see that it folds flat. It has a nice big area inside for a long message. And it's a fun, but actually a fairly easy card to make. And it's simple. We'll see at the end a whole bunch of different styles, sizes, different themes, but all with this waterfall feature. So in order to start, my card is a 5x7 finished card. So you'll want to start with paper that is 7 inches by 10 inches and then fold it in half if you want 5x7 for your card. Then I picked decorative paper. I'm going to put black for the bottom portion of the card, black and white, because I want it to feel kind of fall themed. So I don't want it to seem like Halloween. That's why I didn't put the jack-o'-lantern type face in the pumpkin itself. So I'm going to position this right onto the card cover. And I'm going to place this patterned paper that I created on top. I'm going to tell you to do something different than what I did. This is fairly thick paper, almost like cardstock, and I have a separate layer of orange on top of the gold. This is paper that I made. I took one of the, actually the packaging from one of my kits that I sold on HSN and made black and white copies because I like the pattern so much. Well, that means this is copy paper thin. This is fairly thick. It's easier if the thickness of this section matches the thickness of this one, so that when you slide your card, it doesn't want to always catch on this element here. It can move easily enough, but you're going to make it easier still if you pick thicknesses that are similar. I'm going to go ahead and I'll put adhesive on the top section. Remember, you're going to do more adhesive than me. And go ahead and attach this to the top of the card. And if I have miscalculated and anything doesn't match up, you can see that my black and white pattern I must not have cut it completely straight, so I'm going to trim off any of the excess. And this will give you the card base. Now let's look at the waterfall feature. What I did was I started with a piece of black cardstock, and it's 2 1/4 inches wide and it's 10 3/4 inches long. And what you do is you come in 2 1/4 inches and score, and then 1 inch increments. So my first is 2 1/4, and then 1 inch, 1 inch, and 1 inch. You have the score lines, and then you're going to go ahead and fold on each of those score lines. And that will give you what's going to be this waterfall feature. In order for it to have a design on it, you need to decorate these little panels. So you're going to need 3 black cardstock squares that are 2 1/4 inches, and then 4 pumpkins that are going to sit on top. And I like this design to kind of, if you look at my finished one, I'll bring it over and show you. I like the design to go off the bottom instead of having the whole black square show. So I made my pumpkins big enough that they could sort of drape over the edge. So what I'm going to do is place the first pumpkin is going to go directly on to this 2 1/4 inch square to this first fold line. So I'll put my adhesive on the pumpkin. If it's going to drape off the bottom, don't put adhesive on the bottom. You don't want adhesive to stick out. So it's going to clear this first fold line, and then I want it to hang off the bottom, and I even have it hanging off both sides as well, but I want to clear this first fold. So that's the first one. Now I'm going to decorate each of these squares with the pumpkin. So I'll just do it right down here. I'm going to place my adhesive, and remember, it's going to always overlap, so I'm being careful not to put my adhesive right off the bottom. And I'm going to, since these are squares, I don't have to worry about the top versus the sides. I just need to clear the top, because that's going to be where it's going to kind of fold on each of these, and it's going to drape off the bottom. I'll do this on all of these. So once you have pumpkins on your other 3 2¼ inch squares, then you want to attach them, and they're going to get attached to these inch scores. So I think it's easiest to go ahead and on each of these inch score areas, I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive right now on all 3. So putting adhesive on that 1st inch, on that 2nd inch, and on that 3rd inch. And I'm going to layer these right over the top. So I'll turn this so you can see. I'm going to line this up with that fold line and lay it down and press. And then I'll bring up the next one, do the same thing. I want to line it up with the fold and press, and then bring up the final one. And press. So I end up with the mechanism that's going to create the waterfall effect. The message, remember, is going to be inside here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this orange construction paper that I've just cut into an orange arrow, long arrow shape. I'm going to go ahead and fasten that into, but don't go too far off the bottom because it's going to dangle off the edge. So I'm going to place this so that it tucks against the fold line, trying to get it, in the middle. And if I have any adhesive, I don't, but if I did, I could rub it off at this point. And then before the card is all constructed, it's simplest now. If I pull this down and show you, you can see I wrote "Have a Bootyful Day" right on the card. So I'm going to take a pen and I'll handwrite. Oh, I need to bring this down. Is this all the way to the edge? No, not quite. So I can actually start anywhere in here. But what I don't want to do is I don't want a message to go where it shows when the card is sitting at rest. I want it to stop for sure by this point. So you know what? Maybe I'll mark with a little pencil line. Maybe I'll erase that later. I want my message to stop short of that. So I'm going to write "Have a," and then I decided to switch and have some variety. So I'll write "Boo that backwards, I think, T, and then full. Switch back, go back to handwriting. Day. And you can see, if I turn it back towards you, my pencil line is way down here. So I've got room to write, that it's for me, and if I want to add any other personal information in my message as well. This is now going to need to get attached to the card. So if you look at this one, you will see that the way that this attaches is by way of this strip. And that is the brads are holding it on. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of matching cardstock that's black, and it's 1 inch wide, and it's the width of the card. Remember, this is a 5 by 7, so this is going to be 5 inches by 1 inch. And I'm going to attach this. I've already gone ahead on each end and I've punched with a 16th inch hole punch. I've punched a hole at each of the ends that the brads are going to go through and attach it to the card. And now I'm going to just attach this to the underside of this bottom, this base pumpkin, so it has an even amount on each end. So I'm going to put adhesive. I know it only needs to go 1 inch, so I'll put adhesive on the bottom of this. And then lay this down so that it looks like I have it pretty much in the middle. It would help to have my ruler sitting here. It's underneath this green paper. I have a ruler right on my my cutting mat, so that helps. But basically you want to get it roughly in the middle. So it's now attached, and it needs to now be attached to the card itself. That is a question. I wait to do this step till now because now I can mark it. So I'm going to want my arrow to clear the bottom when it's all folded closed, and my fold to clear the top. So when I have it sitting on the card right where I want it, so I have some edge here and some clearance here, then I'm going to go back and I can see that it's hitting on my black and white pattern. It's hitting a black spot on both sections. So I'm going to use my white pen, which will make it easier for you to see, to mark where the holes are that I've already punched in my the black strip. So when I pick this up, you'll see that I've got those marks now, and I'm going to come back in with my 16th hole punch, and from this edge, it's easy to come in from the edge and just to line up with my white mark, I'm going to punch. For this edge, I can't get in far enough, so I'm going to come right over both thicknesses. It's only a 16th inch punch, and it doesn't bother me. I'll show you on the inside card. You'll see what I mean. So I'm going to attach that. I am going to have this little hole, if I put it on the green, that you can see, but I don't even worry about it. When we look at the finished card, you'll see, and if it bothers you, you can put a sticker or your message can sit over it. But now to attach this to the card, you just need brads to go into those little holes. So I'm going to place the brad through this first one, and then I'll go ahead and place it through the card itself. I'm going to go ahead and turn this over and open up the prongs on this brad. And I'm going to turn it so the prongs go align parallel with the side of the card. So open those up, and now I'll go ahead, and I don't have to worry about that moving on me, and place the brad through the hole in the other end. Oops. So you can see it's gone through this, and now I'm going to go through the card, which is right there, and do the same thing. I'm going to twist this so that the prongs are going parallel with the sides of the card. And press that open. And when I close it back up, you can see how this works. So very cool, and really surprisingly easy for such a wonderful effect. If you think the person you're going to send it to might not know what to do, you can also write pull if you want to on the tip of this arrow, so that it really is obvious that that's what you want them to do. Now I thought I would share with you, once you've learned this technique, it is easy to make lots of them. So let me bring this up and show you some of the other ones that I've created. Here is one where I've used the theme Thanks a Bunch, and so in order to fit the theme of bunch, I've got flowers on this element. Notice this time there's nothing here in layers to catch, so this slides, you don't have to worry about it catching at all. And I've got an arrow here that's indicating to pull. This one I've used tags, So if I slide this and it says just a note to say hi. Here I've used stars and newsprint for behind, so my message says, "What's news with you?" And there's the stars that are the waterfall feature. And then the final one is a hearty hello that I've used hearts. All in all, easy to do, but a really wonderful effect. You know, your friends are sure to fall for a pumpkin card with a waterfall feature. Remember, I love hearing your comments. Be sure to share us with your scrapbooking and your crafting friends. If you want to, you can like us with a thumbs up on Facebook. Don't forget to sign up for these free weekly videos. However, if you want access to hundreds of past videos, or if you want to be able to print a full color instruction sheet, then you might want to consider joining the Gold Club. Bye for now.